Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UBNradio.com.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm starting off this show making my co-host, Miss Eira Switzer, crack up because I'm trying to tell her something she can't hear me. Anyway, so happy to have you here, and welcome to Distill It, a 360-degree view of life in sports. We are so happy to be back here at the beautiful UBN Network radio station, which we are very lucky to be a part of. And today we are going to be talking about a very, very important topic, as we like to think every topic is that we do here. But this one is such a big topic, we're actually going to dedicate 2 shows to it. So this is part 1 of parenting in sports. And, we are here every other Tuesday. And we like to talk about all aspects of sports. Eira and I really believe that sports is a metaphor for life. So not only are we talking about sports, but we're talking about life. And the things that we hear from our guests always inspire us in many different areas. So it's not just about statistics, and it's not just about who played in what game last night. We really look at everything from the home athlete to the professionals to the behind the scenes, anything you can think of. So if you're listening and you have some topics you'd love to hear us cover, please feel free to comment. We are on Facebook Live right now and on the UBN Network, so we would love to hear from you. I want to also, before I let Eira jump in, I wanted to just say a little bit about the Distillery Inc., which is our business that has led us to this wonderful opportunity to be here with you today. We are a company that works with athletes to distill their true essence and repurpose it so that they can use it in their life after sports. So we are passionate sports fans. What do you say, Eira?
I agree with you. Very passionate. Passionate about lots of things, but certainly sports.
Yeah, definitely. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm kind of nervous. I'm going to introduce our guest in a minute, but I just realized I'm looking across from him, and it's like I've known him for a really long time, and that kind of makes me somewhat nervous. As somebody who knows me really well.
Although it could be really comforting.
It could be.
You've got someone sitting across from you that knows you really well.
This is true,
for a long time.
But I want to tell you who's even more comforting.
Yeah. I know who's more comforting.
You know who's more comforting?
Our security blanket,
Our security
Jarvis.
Jarvis, Essex. Thank you for being here today, Jarvis. How are you? Chime in? Yeah? Say hello.
Hello.
So good to see you
Good
as
to see
always.
you as well.
Thank you. Thank you
Good
for being here. Jarvis keeps us on our toes for sure. Okay. So a few things before we start with our guest. The hat.
Tell us all about your hat, Wendy.
For those of you who don't know, every other week I wear a different hat because I love hats. And I often try and coordinate the hat to the topic. And since today's topic is parenting in sports, my hat is an homage to my father. This is a hat representing a company that he spent 55 years at. He recently retired, so my dad is literally the reason I am such a sports fan. He was taking me to sporting events from the time I was probably old enough to go without diapers.
Right.
And I really love him for that. So thank you, Dad. And that is why I'm wearing this hat.
I love it. Very cool.
And also, we like to start off the show with a little bit of what is going on in the world of sports in the last couple of weeks or upcoming.
Tell us what you're excited about, Wendy.
Oh.
Look at that face. What time of the year
Happy
is it?
hands. So it is football season.
Yeah?
It is football season. And why I am very passionate about many, many sports.
Yeah. Football is your thing.
Football is my
American
thing.
football.
American football.
Yes.
I will say that the other football, I do love and adore. And after living 10 years in London, you have to embrace it. So I am a big fan. But there is nothing like an American football game.
For you.
For me. And every time the season starts and I get to watch the preseason games where nobody cares who wins or loses because it's about the only time I don't.
Right.
I get that kind of autumn tingly, yay! I can't wait. My my little pool where there's no money, only pride. Gets started.
Like
I
that.
start sending.
Play for pride.
We do.
Yeah.
By the way, do you know who wins almost every year?
Who?
That would be yours truly.
Is that right?
Yes.
Look at that.
Yes.
I had no idea.
I do. I'm a tough competitor.
This explains a lot.
So for all of you football fans, probably during the season we will have to do some kind of show that talks about football. But I hope any of you who are with me are, in there getting excited. And I just noticed that a friend of mine, Cheryl Rickenberg, is on watching us live. Thank you for joining us. And I'm glad that you love sports. So if you have any questions, Cheryl, please make sure you ask. What do you want to talk about in sports?
I've got one thing to say this week. As we head into this weekend, I have got to strongly encourage people to please support the real amazing title fight on the line between Miguel Cotto and Yoshihiro Kamagai, which is on the very same night and time as what's getting most of the attention, much to my chagrin, which is the big Conor McGregor-Floyd Mayweather. What I think should be an exhibition match, but is an actual sanctioned licensed boxing match. And so I would like to encourage people to please tune in to Cotto and Kamagai this weekend out of Carson City.
I want you to get a little angry. Can you just tell us why you are so against? I mean, I like boxing, but I'm not as big a fan.
We see lots of crossover all the time. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But again, I think that what's happening this weekend should be an exhibition match. There's nothing wrong with that. What I am, frustrated with is that they actually gave McGregor a boxing license for this. I mean, it's an actual sanctioned fight. And there's just the two complete different sports, two complete different styles.
Yeah. I don't even actually understand how is it going to work.
Is
it kind of like when the American League plays the National League and they have to figure out, like, is there going to be, the...
Well, at least it's the same sport. In that case, so
but there's even complications
again,
with that.
There's hype around it. People are excited about it, and I get it. People want to tune in and see this kind of stuff, which is fine. But again, that's why we have exhibition type matches.
Right.
But there is really an amazing fight on the line this weekend, and again, so I just encourage people to really tune in if you want to watch really good boxing and support these amazing athletes who spend day in and day out doing what they're really so skilled at. Tune into Cotto and Kamagai.
Okay,
please.
Can I ask one more question about it? What happens if? Sorry, the guy who isn't the boxer wins. That was the technical term, by the way, for a...
Conor McGregor.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. What happens? Look, he gets...
Does he go on and, fight somebody else?
I don't see him... Look, I have no idea what his plans are for if he wins, if he's going to continue in the boxing world. I have no idea, but it's taking away attention from a really big fight this weekend.
Okay.
From lots of really good boxing this weekend.
Okay, well... I stand with you, my friend.
Thank you. I
stand
appreciate
with
that.
you.
We are one.
We are one. I will not be watching it. I probably won't be watching the
either
other one either.
But you aren't watching either one.
But I definitely
I will be watching
that.
Cotto and Kamagai.
Okay. All right. Without further ado, I want to welcome our guest. He is a really amazing guy who I have, like I said, known for, we were just talking about it, way too long than we're going to actually admit on air. Gregg Riesenberg has been a coach and teacher at Beverly Hills High School for over 20 years. He is a coach of both football and baseball. I'm going to let him tell you a little bit more about himself, but he is also a former athlete, played baseball for Beverly Hills High School. Go Normans.
Yes,
Go Normans, our alma mater. And after that, in college and rugby, you played, which... That was a little bit of a surprise to me. I got to tell you, I don't remember that, but there you go.
3 great years.
3 great years. Actually, I have to tell you, when I lived in England, I became a ginormous fan of rugby. Really think it's one of the most. It's a great sport
really
to
fun.
watch.
Yeah.
I worry about people who play it because it's so kind of brutal.
Sure.
But that was impressive. What position did you play?
Fun sport to watch, fun sport to play, fun sport to enjoy after the game.
Yeah.
I played in the forward pack,
all
3 positions, and then in my last year I played scrum half, actually. So I got out of the forward pack, but right next to the forward pack. Can't leave the big guys alone.
You can't leave the big guys alone?
That's right. That's
I
right.
always love it when they go in for the scrum and it's like, boom! And it's like, how are you not knocked over by that?
If you want to get knocked over, the person across from you will knock you over. They'll headbutt you, but usually it's under control and the referee takes care of it. But if someone's mad at each other, it could be kind of nasty.
Yeah, I can imagine. I knew a former very, very well-known rugby player who, his face, you could tell he was.
They look a certain
his
way.
face
You
and
can
his
tell he's
ears
been
and his
doing
nose,
this.
and it's
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we didn't have you come here to talk about rugby. We wanted you to help us talk about parenting in sports, which is why we really wanted you to be here to give us a perspective from both being a coach for many years and having to deal with kids and their parents, to also being a parent of two who play sports and who you're having to guide through their journey in sports as much as any other parent like us who are not a coach, who might not be a coach. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
First off, just tell us a little bit. I gave a very quick bio, but tell us a little bit about your experience as being a coach at Beverly Hills High School.
Beverly Hills High School is a great place for education and sports. I got involved with it 23 years ago. This will be my 24th baseball season coming up, and on a volunteer basis. And I said, wow, this is something I want to do, coach high school kids. I love playing sports. That's all I ever wanted to do in my life. And to have an opportunity to go to work every day and coach kids and do that every day, I couldn't ask for more than that. And I went back after about 2 years, and I told my mom, I'm going to go get my teaching credentials so I could coach. And she kind of looked at me like I was crazy, because people who know me, Wendy growing up and others, I wasn't the best student in the world. And when I told her I want to go back and get my master's and be a teacher, she was like, are you out of your mind? I said, no, this is what I want to do. And it's been a great journey coaching kids at the high school for 23 years. The ones who call you back, the ones who come and see you, ones who get hurt, get injured, you go visit them in the hospital, wherever they might be. You're part of them for a long, long time. And that's something I always want to remember when I'm coaching a kid, because I didn't have a great experience with one of my high school coaches, and I remembered it for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. And I want to make sure all the kids who I coach and touch enjoy their time at Beverly Hills High School as a student athlete. I don't want them to have a bad taste in their mouth when they leave. And coaching reaches out to my own kids, one's 8 years old and one's 6 years old, be 7 next month. And I try to learn from what other coaches did throughout the years and their mistakes or their successes, and I try to make sure that I'm doing that with my kids, make sure their successes. But most of all, they have to have a good time playing it. If not, they won't enjoy life. They won't enjoy growing up. When you're coaching, you're teaching.
Yeah.
Every moment on the field, coaching is a teaching moment.
Right. So interesting. I have to say, my experience at Beverly Hills High School, the two people who really made the most difference, and I wasn't even on a team, were two coaches.
Sure.
I mean, seriously, like, they saved me. They saved me. They gave me a place. I was feeling kind of not like I belonged anywhere, and they took me under their wing and let me kind of be in the athletic department. I didn't really do a lot. I helped out wherever I could, and if it weren't for them, and I used to work out in the Valley at a restaurant, and they came out and, would come out and have dinner so they could see me, and it was just, they were awesome.
Right.
So I want to start off with, there's so many topics you can talk about with parenting in sports. Everything from how much to little, crazy sideline parents to do you want your kid to specialize or not? I want to focus on a couple of things because I think you'll really be able to help. And I do hope to hear some funny stories about what I'm sure happens on the sidelines with parents because, it is a part of the experience of having your child in sports. But one of the things I wanted to open up with is the idea that, as a parent, I see my son, he's enjoying, like, he loves playing baseball, and he actually can hit a ball without a tee, and he's, like, really into it. And I find myself, even when I'm just tossing the ball to him, going, you're swinging too late. You're swinging too late. Like, okay,
right.
My son's 5, right?
Yeah.
We have 5-year-old sons, and
Sure.
and Eira's son is even more athletic than mine. So when does a parent push too hard? When is it, why does a parent push too hard? And how much does that really affect your kid?
Parent pushes too hard when it's their dream and they want to live through their kid. Last night, my one son is playing fall baseball, and he had practice from 6:30 to about 8:30. And I took my older son out and threw him 200 pitches and threw him and hit him 100 ground balls approximately. Well, he wanted more, so I know I'm not pushing him.
Right.
I'm not the one asking him to go out there and do it. He wants to go do it. When a parent starts taking a kid every single day to the same sport, different places, that kid's had enough. And I've seen it many, many times with my kids' age groups, let alone at the high school level. Kids get burned out on it. A parent sometimes needs to back off and say, what do you want to do today? Do you want to go to practice or you just want to hang out today? When you get to high school, you really don't have the choice of going to practice, but it's the parents who take them and do more than just go to practice and have them do other things while they're in season.
And
It's a good point, because I remember, when I was growing up in high school, being a part of, or even early before that in junior high, being a part of a team sport was kind of what you did because it was fun and you got to be with friends and you got to meet new people. And I think if you were a parent, you knew that your child was safe after school, doing something fun and productive. But nowadays, there's so much more talk about specialization or really pushing kids into, this is going to be what you have to do in high school, and you're going to be able to get to college on a scholarship. And then after that, you're going to be able to turn pro. And it seems like there's so much more pressure put on kids. And I don't always know if that's, is it just the parents? Is that driven from the child? I mean, is it a different day and age where we just assume there's so much more attention on sports and big sports stars that kids want to do this?
It's the parents.
Yeah.
It's the parents and the scholarships, and my kid's going to be a professional so-and-so athlete. The Little League that I'm at, I've probably heard from half the parents in that league, oh, my son needs to get a college scholarship to play baseball, to play basketball, something of the above. I've had my own wife say to me, oh, your son's going to be a Major League Baseball player. And this was before he even played his first minor league Little League game.
Right.
And I said, well, let's hold off for a minute. Let's wait until he does some things, and then we could talk about that in the future.
Sure.
But it's parent-driven.
Okay.
The kids want to succeed. The kids should be out having fun. They don't know from college scholarship to, I want to go play in the major leagues. I see it on TV. But how do you get there? My sons ask me that all the time. Well, how do I get to the major leagues?
Right.
You got to be a good student in high school. You got to play baseball. You have to work hard. First of all, you have to get good grades. There's some parents out there that are putting grades to the wayside and say, let's just go play sports. And that's when you get really a problem with the kid and wanting to play and the burnout level. And again, if you don't have school, your options are limited.
right
Sure.
after that.
Yeah.
Let me ask this question though. So say your 5-year-old is showing signs of whatever, like they have a talent for sports in general or even a specific sport. How do you as a parent kind of go reel yourself back in? Because it's exciting as a parent. I get so excited when my son shows interest in something, and he the fact that he comes running in to the house saying, turn on the baseball game, gives me such joy you have no idea, because
Absolutely.
I told him when he was in the womb that no matter what,
Yeah.
he was going to have to like sports in our household, and thank God it came out that way. But I get such joy from it. So how do you see a 5-year-old that comes in and maybe plays soccer really above average, or plays baseball or above average as far as you can see at that point? How do you...
The way I see it, I encourage them.
Yeah.
Whether it's the high school level, my kids' level, encourage them if they like it. Give them every opportunity they can, but don't take it too far where they're not going to enjoy it anymore. I say 3 things to my high school baseball team. I've been coaching baseball for 23 years at Beverly Hills High School. And this is my second. I've had 2 years as the head coach. I say 3 things to my kids before they take the field every game. Play hard, leave it all on the field, and most of all, just have fun.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, happens. The important part is that we're having fun.
Sure.
And that's the aspect that I think a lot of people lose. Sports are games. It's supposed to be fun. When you get to the pros, is it a business or is it a game? Well, it's a game. And if you're succeeding at that game, then you're going to do okay in business.
Right.
So you have to keep it in perspective of sports are games.
Yeah.
So if you're a parent and you see a spark of something, do you at that point recommend, just getting them into any sport, whatever it is, and not trying to, or do you just listen to your kid? And if the kid really wants to play, I just want to play baseball, mommy or daddy, do you let that happen?
Multiple sports
Are
the way to go. If you
do you have a strong opinion about that?
just a little bit. Just a little bit. We've gone from the aspect at our high school where a lot of athletes played multiple sports, 3 sports, 2 sports, but we rarely had an athlete who just wanted to specialize in one sport. Nowadays, with them being brought up with travel ball, AAU basketball, all of the different things, oh, I need to specialize to get to the next level. No, if you read all the different things about there, if you specialize, you're going to ultimately possibly have problems with certain body parts depending on what sport you're specializing in. And my kids play 4 sports right now. Flag football, because my wife won't let them play tackle football, and I'm okay with that.
Really?
Right
now?
Right now, when they get to high school, they can play tackle football if they want to. They play baseball, they play soccer, and they play basketball. If they tell me that they're in a sport and they don't want to play any longer, okay, we'll finish that season, and we don't have to sign you up next year. But next year is going to roll around. I'm going to ask them if they want to play, and ultimately they're going to say yes. If they say no, that's okay with me.
Sure.
But we're not just going to play, for instance, baseball year-round.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. We have to play a lot of different things, use different muscles, be coordinated in all different aspects of life. And at some point down the line, if they're 13, 14 years old and someone says, hey, your kid's going to be a great baseball player, will we play a little bit more baseball than other sports? Possibly, but I'm going to encourage them all the way through high school, play as many sports as possible.
So it's really interesting that you talk about how different sports using different muscles and how important that is. Can you expand on that a little bit? Because
Absolutely. If you get a kid who's, let's say, specializing in baseball, at some point, if you're playing baseball year-round, your arm is going to have some sort of injury. You're not going to develop all the other muscles in your body the way they should be developed. Your core, which you need to be strong in any sport. But in basketball, some guys who just shoot baskets all day long, their elbow starts hurting. Yeah. So it's in many different sports where the specialization is going to break down certain muscles or parts of your body because you're using them too much.
Whereas cross-training strengthens the entire body. And so if you at some point decide basketball is it, that's my one sport, you're that much better of a basketball player because you've spent those years cross-training.
Absolutely.
I just want to say hi to our friend Betsy Davis who just joined us. Hi, Betsy.
Welcome, Betsy.
So let me follow up with one more question on that. So, okay, I understand that from the injury perspective, but are you saying that you potentially are a better athlete because of the fact that you really have worked every muscle, every part of your body is developed?
Yes, you're a better athlete. If you're playing competitive sports year-round, different sports, you're using different things, thinking differently. You're going to see a lot of different scenarios that happen. And after a while, you're going to say to yourself, wow, I've already been through this and I could bring it to my next sport. But the bottom line is that you have to be active. You have to continue to do things. One sport, okay. But 2, 3 sports, you're going to be an overall better person. You're going to learn more things about life. And again, it goes back to coaching is teaching. So you have a lot of different opportunities where kids can be successful at different levels in different things.
So we read a fantastic article about USC quarterback. Oh, by the way, we're both USC alum, just so you know.
There you go.
Which is why this is of particular interest to us right now. Sam Darnold, who is the quarterback, and really a very long, detailed article about how his parents supported him intensely in playing multiple sports.
Yes.
And wanted him to have fun.
And wanted him to have fun.
Just have lots of fun.
But I thought one of the interesting aspects of that particular article and what they were saying is that, they allowed him to come to them and say, I don't want to play this sport. Like, they would let him play it until it became either he wasn't enjoying it anymore. And interestingly, they were talking about baseball specifically. He had a coach that he did not like and did not get along with, but they had taught him in a way that he was willing to hang out for the rest of the season. But then at the end of it, it was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Right. And I think it was really interesting to be that open to your kid, to not try and guide, but what if he had been better at baseball than he was at football? Like, as a parent at that point, would you have stopped and said, no, you can't quit, just it's one coach, and maybe, how many parents would have done that because they could see maybe more potential in baseball versus football?
I think that's a very tough situation. Again, throughout life, you have a lot of coaches that are going to turn you off. And at the levels of Little League and Pony Colt League and different levels, the coaches mean a lot because it's the experience the kids are going to have. And it's a tough situation because if you've got a kid who's got potential in baseball and all of a sudden he says he doesn't want to play any longer, how are you supposed to talk that kid back into playing baseball if he has that bad taste in his mouth? Find another coach, go get involved in something else. Let a year go by, say, hey, let's sign up for Little League again next year. I don't know if you force them back into playing, they're not going to enjoy it.
Right.
With my kids, if they tell me they don't want to play a sport and they're in it, well, we're going to finish that year. The year will come around. If they say, no, I don't want to play next year, okay. But they're not going to say to me, oh, I just want to play baseball and specialize in baseball. Right. If there's a specific reason why they don't want to play in a sport, great. Other than that, we're going to play a lot of sports. I missed basketball last year, and my kids keep telling me, Daddy, you forgot to sign up for basketball last year. I'll make sure you play basketball this year, I promise. You're going to play basketball.
Well, and it builds their desire. One of the things that we talk about a lot at the distillery and the work that we do is really desire drives everything. Fundamentally, desire drives everything. Desire drives everything. And what I'm hearing you say is exactly the same thing, that when you build your kids' desire for not just one sport, for multiple sports, when you show them that it's about activity and all of that, what you're doing is building a healthier desire for something instead of it being like a focused, painful experience possibly.
I'm watching a friend of mine in our Little League has a 9-year-old son, and he's only played baseball. And he's still only playing baseball, yet he'll come to our house and wants to play basketball, kick the soccer ball, wants to go play football, and this kid's only allowed to play baseball. And I don't know if this kid, by the time he's in high school, will still want to play baseball.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and he wants to do these other things. Give him the opportunity to do the other things. When, speaking of USC, I was at our son's flag football game 2 weeks ago. This Sunday we play in the Super Bowl for the 7-year-olds.
Wow.
Yeah, so there you go. But another USC athlete was there who's on the baseball team, and he happened to be a quarterback in high school and baseball player. And he was saying, oh, I miss football, but thank God USC has the quarterback, because if not, he'd want to go back and jump in and be the quarterback. That's how good he was. Tremendous baseball player, incredible kid.
Yeah.
Had a great conversation with him for about half hour even after our game was over. And this is another example of a well-rounded athlete who got to play multiple sports throughout their youth and now is specializing in one sport.
Right.
But he says he would have it no other way, that he wanted to play all those sports, and he's glad that he didn't just play one sport growing up. And this is a kid who is going to be a junior next year and most likely get drafted and be in the major leagues.
That's great.
Yeah.
So speaking of desire, then, how do you, we can talk about the high school, level. How do you manage parents' desire? So when you've got kids who are cross-training, they're, cross multiple sports, and you've got a parent coming in and saying, I really want my kid to do this. How do you manage that?
Well, for us, the older coaches who've been there, the new coaches who are there are interested in their one sport.
Yeah.
We've always pushed multiple sports, and we let them know we're going to give your son every opportunity they can in every sport. If it's baseball, right now at our school, we don't have a summer baseball program. But if our kids are interested in playing summer baseball, I make sure I find them a spot to play. The parents' desires, I want my kid to play at the next level. My first explanation to them, I don't give out scholarships.
Right.
College coaches give out scholarships. I coach high school baseball.
Yeah.
Right.
I will contact coaches, do everything I can for your son. But the bottom line, the desire for a kid to play over multiple sports, I'm going to push that with the parents. I'm going to tell them not to specialize, even though more and more kids in high school now are specializing than they ever have done before.
Right.
I want to read a quote from a sports psychologist and parenting expert, Dr. Jim Taylor, very related to this, and I thought it was very interesting. When they do, more often than not, the sporting experience, meaning specializing or going through what a parent is pushing a kid to do because of their dreams, the sporting experience does not end well. In the words of Dr. Jim Taylor, sports are metaphorically littered with the scarred psyches of children whose parents tried and failed to do what Earl Woods and Richard Williams succeeded at doing. So, you want to be Earl Woods, Tiger Woods' dad, and you want to have one of the greatest golfers, arguably, even in the last few years he hasn't been, or Serena Williams' dads. But it's a very rare thing.
It is. Those are the exception. Those certainly aren't the rule.
Well, and I also believe that who's to say it really was their dream? Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
It could have very well been that, Tiger, when you read about him, his flame kind of came from him. And interestingly, in reading some other information from Earl Woods, he actually encouraged multiple sports.
Right.
And actually got Tiger to play baseball because he had a love of baseball, and got him to run track because he wanted to make sure. So it's interesting. Like I understand on a certain level, again, being a parent, you know, I love football. You know, let's forget the injury issues aside. If I could pick a sport for David to play, that'd probably be the one because I would love it, you know.
Right.
Sure.
But, you know, at what point do you stop and say it can't be about me?
You've got to stop when your son is not having fun. Taking a kid to a youth practice, football, baseball, basketball, if they're not having fun, you can't keep bringing them back there.
Yeah.
And then you're pressing the issue with them. One of the first questions I ask my kid every time after a practice, whatever sport it is, did you have fun today? Did you have fun tonight? I asked that question last night when we got in the car and had the 3-minute ride home from our park. And yes, they had fun. And that's the important thing. And I asked both of them because one of them just practiced with me and the other one practiced with the team. They have to have fun doing it because if not, it becomes a job for them. It becomes a burden. And my kids have a choice. My older one, I'm taking to a 7 o'clock practice tonight. We're not even a part of this club, but they have an open batting practice, and they invite us to it, and we go. And and I gave him the option this morning, do you want to go? And this is after I threw him over 200 pitches yesterday. Yes, Daddy, I want to go tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if he said no, I get to stay home and relax.
Sure. If he wants to go.
That's how parents should look at
That's
it.
right. That's right.
Instead of pushing my kid, I get to relax.
Yeah, exactly.
Which so many parents don't seem to want to do for some reason.
Right.
So can we talk about something else that has evolved since I was a child playing sports?
Oh, I think I know where you're going because that's the topic I want to talk about too. Please.
Because this was not seen when I was growing up. This would never have been a possibility.
Please.
And nowadays, kids get a ribbon or a trophy or something simply for showing up, for signing up for the team, just for being a part of a team. Trophy parenting.
Yes. So in high school sports, we give on my baseball team per team, I give anywhere from 3 to 5 trophies per team. Every kid doesn't get a trophy. A while ago, a buddy of ours who's coaching at another school, he actually did something very interesting. He ordered extra trophies. He was coaching football. Kids got their awards. And parents would be upset and come up, wait, my kid didn't get a trophy.
Right.
He'd pull out of his box, here's a trophy for your son.
Yeah.
Didn't have a name to it, didn't have anything. He would start ordering extra trophies. The Little League I'm at, I'm on the board of the Little League. And we went from giving trophies to little things, little necklaces that you put on that has a little baseball thing on it.
Yeah.
And I said to him when I saw him, I said, guys, let's just not give anything. What are we doing here? The kid's not going to do anything with this. They're not going to, once they get it, they'll never see it again. They're not going to wear it again. And, okay, give the winners a championship trophy.
Yeah.
But just because you're participating in a sport doesn't mean you should get a trophy.
Yeah.
Maybe the 4 and 5-year-olds who it's their first experience at T-ball, give them a trophy. Other kids, you've got to earn that. You've got to work for it. You've got to have a desire to succeed and be a champion in order to earn something.
I grew up playing AYSO.
Sure.
So, for us, just the fact that you got a uniform was a big deal. Like that was, you're part of a team.
Mm-hmm.
But then we had, as you got older, you had these jackets
Right.
that they would hand out. And then for us, our jackets were covered in these pins that we would earn by busting our butts at these tournaments,
Sure.
each week. Like you would play, it's all day Saturday, multiple games, all day Sunday, multiple games. And if you walked away from that tournament with a pin that you could place on your jacket, you were
Right.
amazing. Like people would see this jacket with these pins, like, oh my God, you played in that tournament. You guys must have been amazing. That was a big deal, but that wasn't easy. That wasn't easy to do.
No, you
And
earned it.
Nowadays, the idea of having my kids come home with a,
You're going to take them
or
away.
a necklace or
Forget
whatever.
it.
I've
They're
already
gone.
explained to them. I've already explained to them what would happen.
Well, listen, I find it hard right now even teaching a 5-year-old how to win or lose gracefully.
Right.
I mean, if you watch the 5-year-olds, there's a group of our kids that go to a tumbling gym and they run around and it's always, I'm first. No, I'm first. And they'll get to fisticuffs if they can't agree who was first. And so right now it's a struggle as a parent to try and mold the idea of how to win, how to be a graceful winner and how to be a graceful loser. And I also agree. I don't understand why you don't want to tell your kids that there are winners and losers,
Right.
or that you succeed or you might fail, but that's part of what life is, and
Yeah.
that's part of earning, and it's part of, the great, I don't know if you guys have seen the commercial out there now. I don't, maybe Jarvis can find it for us and we can play it for a minute with, it's for Gatorade with, Michael Jordan.
Sure.
Saying, you want to know the best way to succeed? Fail. So why is it in the psyche of coaches and or
I think it's
sports
part
organizations?
of part of parents want to have their kids have something shiny at the end of the year. My 2 kids have God knows how many trophies, and about a year ago we took them and put them in a container, and they're sitting out in the garage.
Right.
They've asked for them one time.
Yeah.
Where's all of our trophies? They're out in the garage.
Yeah.
Okay.
They didn't ask, can we go get them? Can I see them?
Yeah.
They just wanted to know where they were.
Yeah.
And you've got to learn, in order to be successful, you have to earn something.
Yeah.
Just given something, no matter what, just to participate. And usually some of those kids don't even show up all the time, but they're still getting that trophy at the
Right.
end of the day.
Right.
And 2 years ago at the high school, we made the playoffs, my first year as a head coach.
Yeah.
And we went to Palos Verdes High School, and they had about 34 kids dressed in uniform, and I brought about 13 kids. And again, I told my kids, play hard, leave it all on the field, have fun.
Sure.
Well, long story short is we won. We didn't win the baseball game,
Yeah.
but we won because we did everything that I said. We went extra innings. We pushed them to the limit. They thought they were just going to walk on the field and beat us. And every kid had fun, even though we lost, and they all left it on the field. So they won,
Yeah.
even though we didn't get to play another game and go to the next round.
Those lessons are invaluable. That's the
Absolutely.
kind of stuff that sticks with you.
I want to show, if it's okay.
Yes,
Can we show this?
absolutely.
And then I want to ask
Yeah.
a question as a result. Go ahead, Jarvis.
You want to know the secret to victory? Fail to make the varsity team.
Start your career as a walk-on.
Go 3-13 your rookie season.
Lead the league in interceptions.
Take a perfect team and blow a perfect season.
Spend 108 years as a lovable loser.
Serena denied a shot at history by an unseated opponent.
Be on the wrong side of the biggest upset in your sport.
You really want to know the secret to victory?
And heartbreak for Matt Ryan, who is in utter disbelief.
Defeat.
Come on, one more.
All right, again.
Make defeat your fuel.
How much I love it.
I love that ad. And,
perfect.
And
Awesome.
for the nice plug for Gatorade, and for those of you who are joining us wondering why we're playing Gatorade commercials, the point of it, and I wanted to ask, is why do you think people are so afraid of talking about failure in coaching and in sports, in youth sports? Why is it a taboo when it clearly is the most important thing you can actually do?
In life, it's easy to succeed. It's hard to fail. Succeeding means, okay, everything is good. Failing means you have to learn something. You have to be able to get up from the ground, keep working to try to figure out how to succeed. So parents don't want kids to fail, but really when kids fail, it's better for them because they learn how to compete.
Yeah.
We played on a team this last year in Little League that was 28-0. Well, we played approximately 20 meaningless games that our kids didn't learn anything from and didn't get better.
Sure.
About 8 of the games, we had to compete a little bit. Had we played 28 meaningful games, our kids could be at a better level than they're at now. They're good kids. They still learned. But I think playing meaningless games really doesn't help a kid overall in life. You have to learn to compete no matter what you do, whether you're in the classroom, whether you're on the streets, whether you're playing a sport.
And when all you're doing is winning, it's very hard to build that internal drive to want
Right.
to practice more or to work on something a little bit differently or to even think that there's an opening for you to do anything better. Because what you're doing now apparently seems to be working.
Right. Why do I have to work hard if
Right.
we're just going to go out and
Right.
win?
Right.
No, you've got to work hard every day you go
Yeah.
to class, every day you go on the sports field. Every day you're just trying to learn something. You have to work hard. If it's just you're going to win, there's no desire, there's no drive.
Right.
So what I'm hearing you say, though, is that because winning is an easier thing to deal with as a parent, where you can high five and you can pat on the back and you can say you did great, that's why parents and maybe even coaches avoid the discussion about failure, because it's actually hard. It's a harder thing to have to navigate your child through. What do you think coaches could do to help parents in that? Because I understand that. It's painful when I feel like my son isn't, succeeding and he gets frustrated.
Teaching your kid how to lose is a hard thing to do. There's a lot of emotions that go along with it, especially if they've been on a winning team. It's gonna be hard, but you just have to talk through it. You have to let them know it's okay. You can't win at everything in life. You have to try harder next time. Learn from how you lost. Learn how you can possibly do something better. And again, it's the overall aspect of life. It's not just the sport part, but it's the life part. Okay, I need to do better. I need to study harder. I need to go work maybe a little bit more on throwing my change up, whatever it might be. But the desire has to be there to succeed in order to learn from losing. So losses are okay, but as a parent, you never want to see your son upset because they lost. But in the same breath, okay, we lost. It's okay. It's just a game. We're going to move on to the next one, and that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
So there's a coach named Bruce Brown of Proactive Coaching who says your child's success or lack of success in sports does not indicate what kind of parent you are. So I wonder also if that, if your kid is losing, you almost take it on personally, thinking that you're the cause or that you're not a good parent. You didn't put them on the best team. You didn't give them the best coach. And again, that kind of hides the real value of losing. Do you think that parents do connect their kids' loss to their own internal issues?
Parents want to win sometimes, I think, more than the kids do.
Yeah.
And parents think that if their kids aren't winning, that they're not winning. Johnny needs to be on the winning team. Johnny needs to go and be on base every time he's in the baseball game. The parent needs to just let their son, daughter go play the sport. If they're internalizing that they think they're just because their kids aren't winning that they're doing something wrong, that's an issue. Make sure your kid's having fun. Ask them if they're having fun, and if they're not, figure out what you can do as a parent to ensure they're going to have some fun.
And just because we have a relatively few minutes left, I have to ask this question because, you see all movies where they portray parents along the sideline, getting in the referee's face or the coach's face or getting out on the field and yelling at their kid or doing like crazy weird things. First of all, for the sake of laughter, is there any really funny stories you can share with us about a parent on the sideline that stood out to you over your 23 years in coaching?
I have 1,000 of them, first of all. And you hear them. You just make sure you don't turn around, but you hear them. I was coaching freshman football 15 years ago or so. So we're walking off the field, and this one kid good kid, didn't play much, and basically not his mother or father, but his grandmother. grandmother wanted to question me and basically wanted to hit me over the head because her grandson didn't get to play much in the freshman football game. And I was kind of turning around trying to figure out what's going on, and then I realized, and another coach said to the parent, you probably want to take her and go somewhere else. The worst possible time to talk to a coach is after a game, whether you win or lose.
Right.
Don't approach a coach about playing time. Why didn't my son get to do this? Why didn't they get to do that? Wait a day, send an email, set up a meeting. I could tell you story after story as far as coaching at the high school goes, and parents wanting to know, well, we won 10-0, but why didn't Johnny get to have 3 more at bats? Well, we had to let other players play who don't get to play much.
Yeah.
It's not all about Johnny.
Exactly.
And do you have tips for parents on? I envision Eira and I doing lots of things because we work so closely together,
Sure,
and our
sure.
sons literally are best friends. So I picture us on the sidelines of some game that they're both in, and I can imagine that we will be enthusiastic.
Yes.
Because
You will be.
we are enthusiastic
Yes.
about sports and our kids. So any tips for how parents can be enthusiastic but not step over the boundaries? Because I just even sitting, you'll appreciate this. David and Chuchi, Eira's son Chuchi, also known as David.
Okay.
I took them to Roxbury Park, and there was a baseball game going on, the place that I used to watch baseball games
Right.
when I was way this big. And, you could hear the parents in the stands. I mean, just it's like, I didn't know if I wanted them to be there to hear the parents because it was like, and so how can we be enthusiastic and supportive without being obnoxious?
Cheer for all the kids.
Yeah.
Don't go
That's
there
fun.
That's
and
great.
just cheer for your own kid. I'm going to go watch their little Super Bowl on Sunday, and I'm going to cheer for every kid, whether he made a touchdown, didn't make a touchdown.
Yeah.
I'm going to cheer for mine as well. Cheer for every kid. Enjoy the game with your kids. Talk to them afterwards. If you just start yelling at your kid and make it all about your kid, it's not going to be fun for anybody, especially for you. Just cheer for them all. Have the expectations. The parents in the stands, I have friends who I have come watch, me coach baseball.
Sure.
And hey, sit in the stands and let me know what's going on kind of thing. And my wife, some parents, new parents don't know who my wife is. And, a lot of these people are saying a lot of things. I said, yeah, they don't know much about baseball, but that's just going to happen. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And you just got to keep looking forward and going forward.
That's good advice. I like that.
One more last little bit of advice before we let you go.
Yeah.
What if you're a parent in the stand and you're seeing a parent who's really not acting in an appropriate way, not just to your kid, but to all the kids? Any quick tip for how to approach that?
High school, I find my administrators at the game, it's not okay for parents to be out of control, whether they're talking to our own team or the other team. In the park leagues, you find who's ever in charge and you say, hey, this parent's out of control.
Okay.
You usually don't want to confront them as another parent
Right.
because that's where you find the issues, and it ends up on TV that these parents got in a fight at a youth baseball game or football
Right.
game, whatever it is. So I would say kind of keep that out of your hands and give it to someone who's in charge of whatever the event is.
Okay,
Good
great
advice.
advice.
Love it.
Gregg, thank you so much for being here. This has been a really fun hour that we've spent. I know,
And
I've
we
had
could
a
keep
great time.
talking. So
We
much more
could.
to
That's
cover.
right. You said it was going to go quick, and it
It
did.
was- it did go
certainly
quick.
did. Yeah, that's right.
And we are going to keep talking about it next week.
2 weeks.
I said
2
that
weeks,
3
there you
times
go.
today. It's 2 weeks. I don't know. I'm foreboding something to come.
You
I
are.
don't
Something's
know. I
happening
know.
next week.
Something's
I want to
in-
know where you're going to be next Tuesday.
Or you guys are going to start doing this every week.
That's what I was
right.
saying.
That's right.
So in 2 weeks' time, we're going to do part 2, and we are going to welcome guest Mike Sassone, who is a coach, private coach, which is a little bit different than Gregg, and we wanted his perspective. He has also worked with children from the time they are kids to many of them have ended up in the major leagues. So we want to take a little bit of a different look at why private coaching, what is the difference at that level, how do you see your child through to a professional career, and what are the tolls it takes on you as a family, your kid, and how to help them, as we are very worried about it at the distillery, have a life after sports. So please join us. Jarvis, you're awesome. Thank you so much, as always. We adore you. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can find us on our Facebook channel, Facebook page, The Distillery Inc. You can find us on our YouTube channel, Distill It, a 360-degree view of life and sports. We're on iTunes. We're on CastBox. So if you missed today live, you'll have the opportunity to see us, and we'll say hello to all of you who tune in after. Thank you again,
Thank you,
Gregg.
Gregg.
Have
Thanks
a
for
great
having us.
couple of
Appreciate
weeks,
it.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's UBNradio.com.